This is Carl at National RV Detroit. I'm going to walk you through this 2025 Flagstaff Shamrock 233S. And this is kind of a how-to video. I'm just going to show you some of the features and how they work, okay? We'll start here at the door side rear. Now when it comes to the beds, the fold-down beds, we'll go over that with you when you pick up. I can't hold the camera and do it and raise and lower, but they're very simple. We'll show you when you pick up. You have 3 bunks on this one, of course. So let's start right here. You have regular crank down stabilizers. Okay, you have a power awning with LED strip. You have a TV hookup, a bracket, and you have the other half of the brackets inside the trailer. You have signal out plus power for a TV. You have a griddle that comes with this one. The griddle hangs right on the railing here, and then there's a quick connect power cord that connects to the LP system right here. So that's how you connect the griddle to the LP system, okay? You also get a utility table that hangs there. The outside speaker, this vent is for the range hood. If you're going to be cooking and venting to the outside, you always want to make sure that there's a little latch here and here. Just flip them open with your index finger so the baffle flaps freely if you're venting to the outside. If not, you just keep it shut. You could just snap them shut when you're traveling or in storage, that sort of thing, okay? Alright, that's just the vent for your furnace. You have dual axles, of course, fold-in steps with adjustable legs. Just some storage here. This is your water heater. Right now this is winterized. This trailer is winterized, so there's no water in the system. It's all antifreeze. So therefore the water heater itself is bypassed and it's empty. So this is the drain plug here and an anode rod. That's where it screws into right there, okay? This also works on gas and electric. The switches are inside. I'll show you those when we get inside the trailer. Now, never run the water heater without water in it, right? So you always have to remember to, anytime you drain it and then you're going to use it again, you have to refill it before you use it. You don't want to run it dry, okay? It's very important. Like I said, I'll show you the switches on the inside. Either works on LP gas or 120 AC. If I can do this with one hand here. If not, I'll just... There it goes. Okay. So, you have a potential, you have enough, your battery box is big enough for 2 batteries. So, because this has a, let's see, let me back up a bit here so I can look up on the roof. Bear with me, please. Yes, this has solar panels and a power inverter, so you do have enough room for 2 batteries. This was ordered without a battery and without LP, just without the starter kit, so keep that in mind. But you do have 2 20-pound tanks, a battery box and hookups for 2 batteries, up to 2 batteries, although you can just use 1 if you want. You have a power tongue jack here, and you have a hitch light. If this power tongue jack ever fails, you can pull this plug off the top here, and then you can use the crank that comes with it, and you can crank it manually to get yourself out of trouble. So even if you have a power failure or it gets damaged somehow, you can still crank it up and down to get yourself hitched and unhitched, okay? As we move around some more, this is your slide room, obviously. More storage here. Your freshwater drain is that white gate valve down there for your freshwater tank. This is the most common way to get water to your trailer is the city water hookup. This is the other way you would get water to it. This is the freshwater fill. So if you don't have city water hookup, let's say you're boondocking somewhere, you can pre-fill your fresh water tank and use the onboard water pump to pump the water. All the plumbing will work as though you have city water. You'll just be pumping it from the tank. So I'll show you the pump switch also when we get inside, okay? You have a 30 amp, 30 foot power cord right there. This is your, or these are your valves, your gray valve on the left and your black valve on the right. Black is toilet water and waste, gray is sink and shower water, of course. This is a hookup for a coiled sprayer that attaches to that, so you got hot and cold water in the sprayer. Okay. And of course your spare tire. If you look way up at the top there, there's a housing that tells us this is pre-wired for a Furrion backup camera kit. So if you want to add a backup camera kit to this, just make sure you get the proper kit that fits that housing. We do sell them here. You can get them elsewhere. Just make sure you get the proper Furrion kit. Also, while we're looking up, remember that the manufacturer states the roof should be inspected every 90 days. So you want to send somebody up there or go up there yourself, however you do it, and inspect the roof. Make sure there's no damage or no way for water to get through. Just give it a look over to make sure everything's in good shape. Okay. Odds are you won't have to do anything for years, but you don't know unless you go up there and look. So inspecting it every 90 days is important. Okay. More storage back here. Now here's your water. So this is the city water hookup right here. That's the one I told you this is the most common place to get water to the way to get water to the trailer. It's right there. This has to do with winterizing the trailer. You'll have to educate yourself on that if you're going to winterize it yourself. And this is the black tank flush here. So the idea is, like it states on this sticker here, never hook up the hose and never turn on the water unless your black tank valve is open. Otherwise you'll build too much pressure up. So if you're going to flush the black tank, you flush it and then you leave the valve open. Then you'll hook the hose onto here, turn it on, and flush out your black tank, clean off the sensors, that sort of thing. But always make sure the valve's open. Then you have cable and satellite through there also. Okay? Alright, so let's go inside. Okay. So we'll send the slide room out here. First thing I want to tell you though is you should really travel with your table in the stowed position. So you have these cleats here on each side. There's 4 of them. And this table base has hinges on it, right? So if you turn this, push this yellow plastic piece to the right, it'll unlatch the hinges and you can drop it down onto those cleats and the table can sit there. That's kind of important when you're traveling because it's a heavy table, and if you just leave it floating freely, it can tend to want to bounce around and you could potentially break something in the trailer with it. So it's up to you, but it's really a good idea to travel with it in the stowed position. This is your griddle that hangs on the rail outside, and this is the quick connect hose I told you about that connects the griddle to the trailer. Okay, we can talk more about that when you pick up. Okay, so let's send this out. We'll come over here to the control panel and slide out. Yep, I'll move around here. Always make sure there's nothing in the way, both inside and outside of the trailer. As soon as you hear the ratcheting sound, you take your finger off the button. The other button here is for the awning. You have a power awning. Never leave the power awning out unattended. If you're not going to be at the campsite, here, let me do this. If you're not going to be at the campsite, make sure you roll it in so it doesn't get damaged by the weather. Okay. This is your range hood we talked about. if you're going to be venting with the fan to the outside, you want to open that baffle out there. You also have a light here. You have your, I don't know if he's got the gas turned on, so if he doesn't, I'll just talk you through it. It's probably off, actually, because he was just using the test tank. So anyway, basically you got 3 burners and you got your 3 knobs. You're just gonna turn it to light, and then you're gonna depress it, and it sparks and it'll light. Like I said, there's no gas at this point, but that's all you do to light it. It's very simple. The oven's the same way, except you have a pilot light at the bottom down here, all the way at the back. So you go take this to the picture of the pilot light, and then you depress it. You keep it depressed till it lights down here. Once it lights, you still hold it for another 10 or 15 seconds to heat up the thermocouple. Then you go to, operating temperature. It cycles on and off as an oven does, but when you shut it off, the flame goes out, but so does the pilot light. So you have to relight the pilot light each time you use the oven. And of course, you have ambient light here and an oven light there. Always travel with this in the closed position. Okay. Your keys are hanging on your faucet. Okay, so let's look around here. So this has a solar panel, it has a power converter, and a power inverter. The power converter is this right here. It converts AC to DC power. So when you're plugged into shore power, right, you have 120 AC at these circuit breakers, and they're labeled, and then it's converted to 12 volt DC over here, and you got 12 volt DC fuses, and they're labeled, right? Also, when you're plugged in, it'll send so much energy your batteries on the tongue need and have, and it'll send as many amps necessary to charge them up. Of course, when you're pulling down the road with your tow vehicle's alternator will be charging the battery. This auto detects the type of battery you have, so you don't have to worry about that. Okay, and that goes from AC to DC. This also inverts power. It inverts power, which means it's starting with 12 volt DC and inverts it to 120 AC. What it does with the 120 AC is it sends it to the receptacles, right? So you can, let's say you're out in the middle of nowhere and you have no AC power, you just have DC power because you're running off your battery and your solar panels. Well, you can use a AC coffee pot or a blender or any small appliance. You can actually turn on the inverter, plug it into here, and you can actually use an AC appliance for a limited amount of time. Okay, that's why you have the inverter. This is the controller for the inverter here. You just hold it for a few seconds to light it up, and there you have it. Tells you everything you need to know. And let me get this to light here. Let's see. I'll have to look at that in a second to see how I didn't prep this one. So anyway, this is the inverter itself. This is just a controller for the inverter, okay? And like I said, it takes 12 volt DC from your battery and inverts it to 120 AC and sends it to your receptacles, okay? See, this says inverter circuit right here, and they'll all say that, okay? That'll be taken care of by the time you pick up. I think they've probably got it shut off at the inverter. When they prepped it, they probably shut it off. Okay, so you also have your solar panels. So if we look around here, you've got your solar controller for your solar panels. Now you'll have to read up on this a bit, but you can see it's rotating through the screens right now. Right now we got 13.7 volts DC in the system, which is really good. And when it comes around again, it's going to say 0.0 amps. If you can see that right there, 0.0 amps are being stored in the battery from sunlight. The reason that is because we're inside of Billy right now, so there's no sunlight. But when we get outside, that'll change. It'll tell you exactly how many amps are being converted from sunlight to amperage and stored in your battery. So it gives you a good idea how much your amp gain is and what your DC voltage is inside your system. So it also tells you the temperature and other things, but you can learn more about it. Also, when you hook up batteries, you have to manually, you have to read your directions for this, but you have to manually, it's set up for AGM battery right now. If you're going to put a flooded battery on there, you have to set it for that. If you're going to use lithium, you have to set it for that. You'll have to look at the manual for that. Normally we set it, but this was ordered without batteries, so you can figure that out, and then if you need so to, we'll help you with that, okay? We can talk you through it on the phone or whatever. This is your thermostat here. Very simple. You just push the mode button till you get to mode, and then you'll go through the different modes. Heat, accept that, yes, and now running heat. Now when you want to shut it off, if you get the mode flashing again, you go back to off, hit off. Now it'll continue to run now. The flame went off immediately when you shut it off, but it'll still cycle through, so that's normal, okay? Alrighty. Let's see what else we have here. Your refrigerator is a 12-volt DC refrigerator, which is a great thing. It runs on 12-volt DC. Let me look around a bit here. This is on a swing-out bracket here, so you can swing this out. Okay. Let's look over here. So here, basically, you have your water heater. If you're lighted on gas, is right here. If you're going to turn on the electric heating element, it's right there. Remember, I always said, like I said earlier, always make sure there's water in it. To turn your water pump on here, the water pump's used to pump water out of the fresh water tank if you don't have city water. It's also used to winterize the trailer. And you have tank heaters on this unit, so you can extend your camping season. You can stay out later into winter and go out earlier in the spring, because your tanks are heated and you just turn them on right there, okay? And then of course your levels are here for all your tanks and your battery and that sort of thing. Okay? Alrighty. So that pretty much covers it. We'll go over it with you, like I said, and answer any questions you have. But those are the main functions right there. This flips over here and turns into a bed. So you actually have another bed there. This one drops down into a bed, and like I said, you should really travel with it in the down position. And plus you got 3 fold-out beds, so you get tons of ways to sleep in here. You have 2 of these fans. They're 4-speed, and they're very quiet on the 2 lower speeds. And the reason you really need this is, or one of the main functions, obviously, is to pull heat out. You can, on those days where you don't need air conditioning, you can really cool it down. But if you've got a bunch of people in here, it's the right time of year and the right temperature, and you start to get a little condensation inside on the tent canvases, for example, you turn these on low, and it'll just pull it right out. You'll have no issues with it at all. So it has 2 main functions. One just to draw heat out, and the other one is to draw condensation out. Okay. This is a pre-wire. If you're interested in this, you can read more about it. Most people are not interested with the 5G, but they are interested in the public Wi-Fi booster. So you can look into that if you're interested. Okay. Okay. So I want to thank you for purchasing your trailer here at National RV Detroit. Remember what I said about inspecting the roof every 90 days. Keep after that. That's obviously very important. And also, this is winterized, so the water's been purged and replaced with antifreeze, and your water heater is empty and bypassed. Make sure you always have water in it before you turn it on, okay? Thank you very much.